This is the eastern end of Clumber Park. I'm here in this particular area of woodland for one species, and it's another flatworm, but this time it's a harmless native species, but it's also quite small and difficult to find. But I've been tipped off on a good area in which to look for it. We're in a rather nice area today. This is Clumber Park, and this is a part of Clumber which I've never been to before, and I'm only about 100 yards or so away from the A614 over to my left and over to your right. I'm here looking for a flatworm, but this is a good flatworm. This is a UK native species and is harmless to our native invertebrates. Well, this is the area that I've been told to have a look for this particular flatworm in, and the flatworm is Microplaner terrestris. It only reaches a length of about an inch, almost around about the 2 centimetre or 20 millimetre mark, so it's going to take a bit of finding, but there's plenty of logs to look under here and some old rotten stumps to look in, so I may well be successful. But it's rather a tall order looking for such a small and greyish brown flatworm in all this lot. Well, I found one not quite straight away. It took a bit of finding, but under the second or third log that I've looked under, we have one. If I put my grubby fingernail here, you can see the size of this one, and I would estimate this being about 17-18 mil, possibly 20. And as you can see now, it's going down that hole, so we'll turn the leaves over in a minute. But this is Microplaner terrestris. Generally greyish coloration. The species, as far as I'm aware, doesn't have eyes. But we'll turn this leaf over so we can get a bit of a decent look at this. There's not a deal to say about this, but it is important that I emphasise that the flatworms native to the UK, which there could be 3 to 5 or 6 species, are not thought to be predatory on earthworms and are indeed quite harmless. They generally feed on dead invertebrates, more scavenging than attacking, and we're losing this one again. But this one is generally like a light greyish. They can vary in coloration, and certainly depending on the light that is available at the time. This is now quite a neutral light because I've lost the sunshine and it's gone grey cloud, which always gives what I always term a flat light. So these are the best conditions, and while it's like this, I'm going to attempt to take a few photographs of this one. Well, I've got a second. This one's slightly larger. It's under the same log. I can just bring it into the centre, and this one certainly is at least 25 mil in length, and it's fully stretched out. As you can see, this, as I mentioned, there's not a lot to the markings and coloration of this particular species, but it's very important that I give a generally balanced view and point out that our native flatworm species are harmless to earthworms the ones we need to be concerned about, although admittedly in most cases we can't do a great deal about now that they're here, are indeed those non-native species that are coming in via the horticultural trade. Nice to have found one of these. These must be grossly under-recorded in Nottinghamshire, because there's only 3 known sites now, and 2 of them are here at Clumber Park. This is one of the 2, and both the Clumber Park records and sites were found by Nick and Samantha Brownlee, who's doing sterling work of recent. The other Nottinghamshire record is actually from Woodbury South Forest, which was found by Adrian Dutton in 2023. And yet this is frequently described as the UK's commonest species of flatworm, and is described as widespread too. This individual may well actually be slightly darker than the first one I filmed. Certainly slightly larger. And Nick and Samantha, they found 5 of these in the 2 areas, but there must be more across Nottinghamshire, certainly in damp woodland. And the best places to look are, as I've done here, look underneath logs. If I can turn this round and hold that there, look underneath logs, and usually they may be slightly coiled up but also severely contracted like this one is doing now, but they can appear like just tiny slugs. And this one's only no more than 2 millimeters in width. Oh, I've got a little ray of sunshine at the moment, just as I'm making my way back towards the car, and the incessant noise of the A614 over there. But very pleased to have found Microplana terrestris. I thought I might struggle to find it, but thanks to the rough directions in the area to check given to me by Nick and Samantha Brownlee, who found species yesterday, it didn't turn out too difficult a task, and my knees live to fight another day. But I can't overemphasize enough the importance of people being able to identify flatworms. We do have quite a number of non-native species in the UK. In fact, there's far more non-native species been recorded, and probably at large in the UK now, than native species. Probably only about half a dozen at the very most native species, and the native species are harmless to earthworms and other invertebrates. They tend to just scavenge on dead invertebrates. It's the non-native species that we need to be worried about. But with the general consensus being to kill these non-natives on sight, it's rather a pointless task, at least in my eyes. If a species has become established in the UK, it will be established in large numbers and over a wide area, and killing just the odd specimen every now and again will make no difference whatsoever. I'm afraid that those unwanted non-natives in the UK are here very much to stay.